that India is way beyond in the happiness index. I have, day before yesterday, has also mentioned this, that among the top 5 countries in the happiness index, one of the country at 3rd position is Iceland. And you know, Iceland is also in one way top. In consumption of the anti-depression drugs, Iceland is number 1 country in the world. So how you can define, what is your parameters of defining happiness index, that those countries who are consuming the anti-depression drugs and they are the happiest countries? I think that's why Prime Minister had said last month when he was inaugurating the new extension building of BJP office कि अब बहुत सी national नहीं international forces भी हमारे खिलाफ खड़ी हो रही हैं. And that's how India is emerging in a new form, in a new pattern. And one more thing we have to keep in mind. When we say that in the modern world, India is all set to lead the world in the 21st century, the architect of modern India was not one particular family which claims to have all the virtues and which ruled more than 50 years in this country, but it has started from the state of Karnataka. Because if I ask you which was the first city outside Europe and America, first city in Asia to have the electricity on the street light, it was Bengaluru in 1905. Still उन्होंने डेवलपमेंट शुरू किया. First hydroelectric project of the entire Asia outside West was Shivanasamudram project, which started here in Mysore. And when it is started, some of you might not be remembering the date, 1894. And what is the importance of 1894? 1892 was the year on which the production of electricity was considered safe and allowed for commercial purpose, and London became the first city to have a commercial electricity, and within 2 years Mysore started it. So we were way ahead of time. And this Minto Eye Hospital in Mysore was the first eye hospital, specialized only dedicated to eyes hospital in the entire world. Till that time there used to be a department of eye hospital, not the purely eye hospital. And Mysore University in 1916 was the first university outside British India. And since I am also an engineer, so I also feel pride. This is the land of Vishveshwaraya, who was considered the father of engineering. And I think here it was a college which has first started giving, one of the earliest started giving degree in the engineering. But unfortunately, the credit, due credit is not being given to the state of Karnataka and to the state of Mysore or the Maharaja of Mysore, by who cannot properly speak Vishveshwaraya. You remember last Karnataka election? विश्वेश्वरैया, और अगर साहब उनसे कह दिया जाता पूरा नाम बोलो मोक्ष गुंडम विश्वेश्वरैया, तो फिर पता नहीं क्या होता. And moreover, their understanding to the Indian ethos and systems are so. In 2018, I was in Rajasthan. I was in charge of media there. There the Rajasthan government of Karnataka has started a scheme naming against their one of the very prominent and dominant leader of Rajasthan. His name was Kumbharam. तो कुंभाराम योजना उन्होंने स्टार्ट किया. And Sri Rahul Gandhi ji said that I congratulate the government of Rajasthan to start the Kumbhakarna Yojana. And he has not said once, he said twice. Now you can understand, anybody who is having an iota of understanding of the Indian ethos, can he ever think of the Kumbhakarna के नाम पे इंडिया में कोई योजना हो सकती है? That's why if Yogi ji has said at one point of time, there are the actual Hindus and there are accidental Hindus. So these are the example of the accidental who cannot speak Vishveshwaraya and who can give credit a Kumbhakarna Yojana. And if you look, on one hand, India is emerging like this. When the yoga was brought, 170 countries not only supported the Yoga Day resolution in United Nations, but become the second proposer. It has never happened in the entire history of UN that any proposal has been 170 countries become second proposer, including 42 Muslim countries. And now on Yoga Day, more than 170 countries, millions of people perform yoga. This shows the positive, constructive and motivative impact of India on the global scenario, even to the personal health and synchronity of your body. That's why we say the name of this country is what? I think the people of Bengaluru should also understand, भारत का नाम कहाँ से आया है? भारत consists of two Sanskrit words. Bha means light of knowledge. From there the synonym of the Surya, Bhaskar, is also there. And Rat means laga hua, in the pursuit of. Bharat means the land which is in the perpetual pursuit in search of the light of knowledge. So whenever we will usher in the global scenario, there will be a light of knowledge all over the world. But unfortunately, we cannot do away with the darkness of the mind who sit on the British soil and then give a sermon that the democracy in India is in danger. And they say that the defenders of democracy, the Europe and America, why they are silent and they are oblivious of the fact what is going on in India. So I would like to say that you know how much percentage of population is there in democracy in the world? Only 30%, and out of which 17% are Indian. So if you remove India, the 13% will be left. So we are the defenders of democracy, not they are the defenders of democracy. And when they ask about the democracy sitting in England, the credit is being given to England, which is undue, unjustified, because the entire world history, it is told that in 1215 the Magna Carta came, that became the first public platform to curtail the powers of the king. But 1 century before, there is a document here in Karnataka, Bhagwan Vasavanna's Anubhav Mandapam went there, in which the people were sitting, discussing, and then deciding how the administration should go. So Prime Minister had said, we are not the biggest democracy, we are the mother of democracy. And here the state of Karnataka gives a message that we are mother of democracy. During the Chola Empire, all the village committees are elected by vote. Though there were certain restrictions that anybody who is having any debt cannot vote. Anybody who is dependent on any other cannot vote. Anybody who is not having any property or his property is mortgaged to any other, they cannot, because there was a thinking that by any of this parameter, his thinking cannot be independent, he can be influenced. 2500 years back, Vaishali was the first Ganaraj, first republic in Bihar. Even in Vedic age, there were the institutions like Sabha and Samiti, in which the people discuss, argue, and then conclude that how the administration should go ahead. And the word Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha is also derived from there. But aapko pata hai, what is the difference between ours and them? आप लोगों ने में से कितने लोगों ने रिपब्लिक बुक का नाम सुना है? The prominent Greek philosopher Plato has written a book, Republic. अब देखिए, हमको तो बहुत ज्ञान दे दिया जाता है. आपको पता है रिपब्लिक बुक में क्या लिखा है? उसमें लिखा है एजुकेशन शुड ओनली बी फॉर द किंग एंड दोज हु आर असिस्टिंग किंग. कॉमन पीपल डू नॉट नीड एजुकेशन. ये उनका रिपब्लिक का कॉन्सेप्ट था. And you know what they have said? They have also divided the 4 classes. हमारे यहाँ तो कहते हैं ना 4 वर्ण थे, वो 4 क्लास कहते हैं. टॉप इज द किंग who represent the divinity. Then comes those who are doing business and who are doing intellectual activities. Then comes the third, that is those who are doing the service. And fourth comes the woman. And you know what is written in their republic? They say कि आत्मा तो केवल राजा में होती है, बाकी किसी में नहीं होती. फिर वो कहते हैं वो जो सेकंड एंड थर्ड है उसमें तो सोल आ भी सकती है, वुमेन में तो सोल आ ही नहीं सकती. And they used to teach us a lesson that they are the champions and defenders of equality. And we have accepted that for our administration process, for our conceptual process. मतलब वो ये कहते हैं, in their entire theology it is said कि वुमेन इज लाइक द टेबल एंड चेयर, शी नेवर हैज एनी आत्मा, एनी सोल, डिविनिटी कैन नॉट बी देयर. और हमारे यहाँ जस्ट वी हैव कंप्लीटेड अवर इंडियन न्यू ईयर्स Nav Durga festival, and we considered that the entire embodiment of the divine energy is there in the woman. That's how you can see the difference in their concept and our concept, and how rational and logical is our concept. हमारा न्यू ईयर कब शुरू होता है? वो ये मानते हैं हमारा न्यू ईयर शुरू होता है considered not by the birth of any great person, any son of God, any messenger of God, और एनी किंग. हम मानते हैं कि चैत्र शुक्ल प्रतिपदा को द क्रिएशन ऑफ दिस यूनिवर्स स्टार्टेड. सो आवर न्यू ईयर स्टार्ट्स विद क्रिएशन, एंड व्हेन द क्रिएशन विल स्टार्ट, हाउ इट विल स्टार्ट? द इनिशियल रिक्वायरमेंट विल बी एनर्जी. तो जिस दिन नव वर्ष होता है उसी दिन सृष्टि की रचना हम मानते हैं, और पहले दिन शक्ति की पूजा करते हैं. बिकॉज एनर्जी इज मस्ट इफ ए यूनिवर्स हैज कम टू एग्जिस्टेंस. एंड इफ यू हैव सीन नौ दुर्गा के नाम ध्यान है आपको? हमारे यहाँ बहुत सारे देवी देवता, वो तो अलग बात है, दुर्गा जी भी 9 प्रकार की है. इसका अर्थ क्या हुआ? Those who used to say that one God is enough, I am not disrespecting anybody, but I am saying if the student of KG and nursery, one teacher is enough. But when you go to graduation and post graduation, teacher for every subject is required, and when you go to PhD, for each and every topic there is one expert. That's why there are 9 Durgas. And if you look the sequence of Nav Durga, तो वो कैसे शुरू होती हैं? प्रथमम शैलपुत्री. पुत्री मीन्स ए नेसेंट एनर्जी, इट्स अ चाइल्ड. द्वितीयम ब्रह्मचारिणी. Now the second stage of energy evolution is chaste and pure energy. Tritiyam Chandra Ghanteti. Now it is coming up with the various dimensions, because if you look, Ma Chandra Ghanta is having 4-5 hands. Then Chaturdham Kushmanda. Now the power of progeny and creation has started. Panchamam Skandhamata. Means now the creation is started from the energy. Then Shashtham Katyayani, now it is coming with a full bloom. Then Saptamam Kalaratri. Kalaratri is very, now the negative forces which has also been created by the creation, they has to be destroyed. Then Ashtamam Mahagauri. You will see कि कालरात्रि एग्रेसिव हैं, कात्यायनी के 6-7 हाथ हैं, महागौरी सिंपल एंड ब्लिसफुल हैं. Now when you removed all the dark energy, the energy is in a blissful form, and Navam is Siddhidatri. Now all the virtues of energy are with you. अब मैं ये बताना चाहता हूँ, those who are the descendants of the mania of Macaulay and Marx, when Marx has to say कि भारत के हिंदू कितने भी प्रॉस्परस क्यों ना हों, वो इसी लायक थे कि उनके ऊपर हुकूमत की जाती, क्योंकि वो ऐसे ऐसे कॉन्सेप्ट की बात करते हैं जो फुलिश लगते हैं. वो बंदर हनुमान, नंदी बैल और हाथी गणेश को पूछते हैं. अब मैं आपको बात बताऊं, दीज 9 सीक्वेंस एंड इवोल्यूशन ऑफ माँ दुर्गाज एनर्जी, ये समझने लायक बुद्धि थी मार्क्स में. But unfortunately, the proclamant of the legacy of Marx and Macaulay, वो खुद तो समझ नहीं पाए, हमें बेवकूफ़ बनाने लगे. And unfortunately, we got victim of their thinking process. So, I just want to give an idea that how the things are transforming. I will give you one example. Sometimes say, okay, you are talking about the cultural things. What cultural things are having an impact on economy? Do you know what is the impact on economy? The first and foremost unit of our entire Indian culture is family. And what family is having an impact on economy, I am not talking about the impact on society and psyche. I am strictly talking about the impact on economy. In America, 50 years back, the number of persons per family was 3.2, now it is 2.5. And just by 0.7% increase, you know how many houses were built in America? 31 million. And because everybody is starting saying, I'm independent, I want to live in coherence or in coordination, individual identity, the impact on economy was $8 trillion. In India, the average number of person per family was 5.2. Now it has come to 4.8. Not that much has changed. But if it reduces by 1, we will be needing 6 crore more houses. If it reduces by 2 point, if it comes to 3.2, we will be needing 13 crore houses. Can you imagine the impact on economy and impact on environment? Forget about the impact on psyche. And what is happening in psyche? वही तो है ना, बहुत खुश हैं और एंटी डिप्रेसेंट ड्रग ले रहे हैं, गाड़ी भी है, बंगला भी है, सब कुछ है, सुकून नहीं है। वो एक हिंदी की लाइन है कि आजकल तो तेज बहुत हर शख्स की रफ्तार है, आजकल तो तेज बहुत हर शख्स की रफ्तार है, कल तक उस पे साइकिल थी, आज उस पे कार है, अब तो उस पे मोबाइल है, अब तो उस पे मोबाइल है, इंटरनेट और फैक्स भी, बात करना अब मगर खुद से भी दुश्वार है। आजकल तो तेज बहुत हर शख्स की रफ्तार है। एंड दैट्स व्हाई अमेरिका इज द मोस्ट डेवलप्ड कंट्री। हमें हमारा वो आदर्श होगा? नो। As per the Wall Street Journal report published recently, in just 2023, there are 146 instances of gun violence, in which their criteria is only in which at least 4 people were either killed or injured other than the shooter. Then they taken into account, and 146 such instances. क्या प्रॉब्लम है भाई? खाना पीना सब कुछ है, क्यों जाके गोली चला रहे हो? That is an altogether different aspect of psyche. We believe in family. We believe in coherence. Our family is not based on the contract. It is based on compassion. We talk about vasudhaiva kutumbakam, और वो तो कहते हैं अपना कुटुंब भी नष्ट कर दो. So there is a huge difference between, and I have told you about the impact on economy. That's how the economy is transforming and the impact on economy is changing. Another example I would like to give just on economy, how our culture affects. You know, there is 71% water in this land and 29% land. Out of this 29% land, only 20% is habitable land. Out of that 20% of habitable land, only 10% is cultivable land. And out of that 10% cultivable land, only 2.4% is using for crop farming and 7.6 is for cattle farming. और कैटल फार्मिंग क्यों ज़्यादा यूज़ करनी पड़ रही है? बिकॉज आई एम गिविंग जस्ट ए स्टैटिस्टिक्स एंड एनीबडी कैन चेक गोइंग ऑन माई वर्ड इन data.com. It shows that those who solely depend upon non-veg, for that this is required, the cattle farming portion of the land. बिकॉज मैं एक छोटी सी बात कहूँ आपसे, जितना बड़ा ये हॉल है, इतने में वीट या राइस उगाया जाए तो आई थिंक अ पर्सन कैन ईट फॉर होल ईयर, बट एक जानवर इसको एक दिन में 2 दिन में खा जाएगा. दैट्स वाई मोर लैंड इज रिक्वायर्ड. एंड यू नो, इन इंडिया द कॉन्सेप्ट ऑफ नॉन वेज इज डिफरेंट. हियर नॉन वेज मीन्स कैन ऑल्सो ईट नॉन वेज. It doesn't mean only eat non-veg. 50% of the population is vegetarian. We are having just 2% of the land. Still, we are not only self-sufficient, we are exporting the grain. How? Because of our food habits. You know, what is the consumption of meat by an average Indian is 3.2 kg per year. Just because if somebody eats non-veg, once or twice a week he takes, and that too just like one dish. And in America it is 109 kg per year. In European Union it is 84 kg per year. And now it is proven that these type of items like beef, etc. are the biggest contributor to the greenhouse effects like chlorofluorocarbon. और आप सोचिए हमारी फूड हैबिट्स क्यों हैं? देखिए, साउथ में ज़्यादातर चीज़ें राइस से बनती हैं. डोसा हो, इडली, सब कुछ राइस यहाँ पाया जाता है. अगर आप जो नॉर्थ की तरफ बढ़ेंगे, पंजाब की तरफ, तो वहाँ रोटी खाना ज़्यादा है। जो आप नॉर्थ से थोड़ा थोड़ा साउथ की तरफ आएंगे, यूपी बिहार तक आएंगे, तो थाली में रोटी और राइस बराबर हो जाएगा। बंगाल में आएंगे राइस ज़्यादा हो जाएगा, उड़ीसा में आएंगे राइस ज़्यादा हो जाएगा, साउथ आते आते राइस डोमिनेंट हो जाएगा। बिकॉज नेचर जहाँ पर जो चीज़ उगाती है उसको लीजिए, दैट इज़ मोर हेल्दी ऑल्सो, that is economically viable also, and that can be easily consumed there. No transportation or other things are required. So I've given you just two examples. But lastly I would like to say one thing, कि हमारे दिमागों में इस ढंग से ये बातें भर दी गई हैं जिसको कि हमें अपने दिमाग से निकालना बहुत ज़रूरी है कि in what way India will emerge. हम जब आगे बढ़ेंगे तो दुनिया के लिए क्या करने के लिए आगे बढ़ेंगे, हाउ वी विल इमर्ज एंड हाउ वी आर गोइंग अहेड टू शो द एग्जाम्पल टू द वर्ल्ड. व्हाट विल बी द ऑल्टरनेटिव मॉडल? आई हैव गिवन एग्जाम्पल फ्रॉम योगा टू फूडिंग हैबिट टू फैमिली, एंड दैट विल गिव यू एन अदर थिंग, that how we will affect the industry. I would like to remind that everybody uses WhatsApp and Facebook. The owner of WhatsApp and Facebook is Mark Zuckerberg. When he came to India, he has told his experience to Prime Minister Modi ji that the founder of Apple, Mr. Steve Jobs, has told him that if you feel depressed and you think that everything is lost in your life and you are watching no way ahead, you have lost your confidence, then I suggest you go to India. In Uttarakhand, there is a Kainchi Dham ashram of Neem Karori Baba. You go there, you will feel a new enlightenment, and then you will get a new vision. That who told? Steve Jobs told. And Steve Jobs also told that at one point of time he was in such an utter poverty that he was having only two options. If he is giving rent to his one room, then he was not having enough money to eat food. So he has deliberately taken a room near an ISKCON temple in America in which 2 times free meal, free langar मिलता था. आप सोचिए, ये वो हैं जो हमसे कहते हैं देयर कैन नेवर बी ए फ्री लंच, इफ देयर इज ए फ्री लंच देयर हैज टू बी पॉइजन इन इट. और आपका बिगेस्ट इंडस्ट्रियलिस्ट हमारे मंदिर से दिए गए फ्री लंच से इतना बढ़ के आया. That's what we can contribute. And Mark Zuckerberg told that I went to Kainchi Dham, but since it is a hilly area, so what happened? The weather got disturbed. So Mark Zuckerberg said कि I have planned for just 2 hours, but मौसम खराब हो गया तो हेलीकॉप्टर कैन नॉट टेक ऑफ. So I have to stay there for 1.5 days, almost 2 days. And it is the words of Mark Zuckerberg that I felt a new energy. And after that, when he came, his fortune changed. So that's what we are capable of providing to the world. Not only just money, not only just intellect, but a new vision. So all of us, we know that we want our new generations to become sound in wisdom and knowledge, also sound in prosperity. तो हम चाहते हैं कि हमारे ऊपर सरस्वती जी की भी कृपा रहे और लक्ष्मी जी की भी कृपा रहे. पर बस एक बात ध्यान रखिए कि सरस्वती जी का आसन भी कमल है और लक्ष्मी जी का आसन भी कमल है. So I just want to conclude that India is marching ahead in a very prominent way from micro to macro level, and also with self-confidence. With one example I would like to give, which is also relates to small and micro industries can have a new dimension, like organic farming. We have started given emphasis in the last 2 budgets on organic farming, and there is a huge demand in Western countries that the product should be from that land on which never a fertilizer was used. Because in Europe and America you can't find a land on which never a fertilizer was used, but here in India in Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, in the various tribal regions, there are ample land on which the fertilizer is never used. Even on the herbal medicines, this can be another industry which can pave the way for a totally new paradigm of business and new paradigm of technology for us. So there are enormous opportunities available for our country to march ahead in this era of Amrit Kal, and you should be rest assured that the time of India has arrived. And how you can say the time of India has arrived? If you look, just one more point I would like to elaborate. At one point of time, we were the power center of world. The intellectual power center, the economic power center, and the military power center. 2,500 years before, when the decline of India started, the power center shifted from India to Persia, today's Iran. And the Persian Empire, King Darius of Persia at its height. When Persian Empire declined, the time of the Mesopotamian Empire came, the caliphs of Baghdad. Then that declined, the Turkish Empire came to its height. When Turkish Empire declined, the Roman Empire came to its height. Shifting, look at the shifting pattern. When Roman Empire declined, the time of Portugal, Spain came. When the time of Portugal, Spain declined, the time of Britain and France came. When British Empire declined, the time of US Empire came. And in US, the most prosperous is the West Coast, San Francisco, Los Angeles belt. And from there, the prosperity came to Japan. I'm talking last 100 years. Now come to the last 50, 60 years. The time prosperity came to the smaller countries who were called the tigers of Asia Pacific. Hong Kong, Taiwan, Singapore, Macau. Now come the last 20, 25 years. Time of China come. So if you look at the pattern, what is going to be there next? India. So the cycle of destiny and the cycle of time has come to India. And we are having the capability to take India to take the entire world from the darkness. If West is giving the concept of clash of civilization, we are the only country which is having to create a coherence in any clash. तो मैं ये कह सकता हूं कि घनघोर अंधेरा भी है तो उसमें दुनिया को लाइट दिखाने का काम भारत ही करता है। मैं अटल जी की उस कविता से समाप्त करता हूं जिसमें उन्होंने कहा, दुनिया का इतिहास पूछता, ग्रीस कहाँ यूनान कहाँ है, घर घर में शुभ अग्नि जगाता, वो उन्नत ईरान कहाँ है, दीप बुझे पश्चिमी जगत के, छाया जब बर्बर अंधियारा, तभी चीर कर तम की छाती, तम मतलब अंधेरा, तभी चीर कर तम की छाती, चमका हिंदुस्तान हमारा। थैंक यू।
Yes, I think he needs a standing ovation. Thank you, Dr. Sudarshan Trivedi sir, the mesmerizing address with full of statistics and information. If our chief guest permits, we can have 2-3 questions. Yes. Mike.
Hello, sir.
Mike.
Sir, myself Sandeep Parvatikar. My question is on economic policy. Most of you sitting here are MSME owners who are contributing 45% of manufacturing, nearly 30% of GDP, and second largest generation of employment. To control inflation, you have tightened the monetary policy in such a way that the rate of interest, cost of fund has gone by 2.5 to 3%. It's making us life very difficult. Now my question is there any idea out of box thinking where the inflation is also controlled and our cost of funds also not increased?
Actually, as far as the inflation is concerned, if you look at the data of G7 or G20 countries, no country is having less inflation than us, and no country is having higher growth rate than us. In this context, there is an IMF report in which the title is Navigation Through the Troubled Waters. Now the entire global economy is in a very difficult position. IMF chairman Kostona Georgieva has said that the world is going to grow only at a pace of 2.9% and India is stipulated to be at 6.11%. So we are the only country right now in the world in which the inflation is below the growth rate. All other countries, inflation is above the growth rate. So after COVID, we are coming out of gradually in a normal position. So in the time to come, hopefully under the able leadership of Prime Minister Shri Modi, we will be able to curtail the inflation. And as far as thinking about MSME is concerned, I would like to remind you one decision of our government that they have, what happens sometime the small and medium industry do a lot of work. Then suddenly when their business reaches to a certain level, the global players enter in and they snatch the opportunity. So government has made it very clear that a new rule that from now onwards any tender which is 200 crores or less, there will be no global tender. So that the small and medium industries who are capable of doing this, they can enhance their both financial capability and the technological capability.
सर गुड इवनिंग सर, मेरा नाम अभय कांजीकर है सर। मैं 2007 हार्वर्ड बिजनेस स्कूल में पढ़ाई करते वक्त माइकल चू प्रोफेसर ने बोला था, देयर आर टू थिंग्स विच इज क्रिएटिंग प्रॉब्लम फॉर इंडियाज ग्रोथ, लैक ऑफ पॉलिटिकल लीडरशिप, हमको मालूम है 2007 में कौन प्राइम मिनिस्टर था और पीछे की तरफ से कौन सरकार चला रहा था, एंड सेकेंड वन ही सेड इनडिसिप्लिन इन द सिटीजन्स ऑफ द कंट्री। पॉलिटिकल लीडरशिप तो बहुत ज़बरदस्त है आज के दिन, थैंक्स टू नरेंद्र मोदी जी और बीजेपी, पर इनडिसिप्लिन आज भी सबसे बड़ा समस्या है सर। कोई भी आने दो हिंदुस्तान को, पहला चीज़ वही बोलता है कि यू गाइज आर नॉट डिसिप्लिन्ड।
देखिए जो इन्होंने बात कही अबाउट लीडरशिप इज एस्टैब्लिश्ड सिंस लास्ट सेवरल ईयर्स। मोदी जी इज रैंक्ड बाई Moody's rating that he is the topmost ranking global leader. As far as the discipline is concerned, you remember on 15th of August 2014 when Modi ji was giving his first deliverance from Red Fort, he has given two concepts of Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao and Swachh Bharat. The political pundit said, what these topic has to do with politics? These topic doesn't have to do with politics but with the discipline. Now you remember before 2014, after that the habit of Indian citizen has changed significantly. पहले हाथ में कुछ भी होता था कोई कहीं भी फेंक देता था. Today everybody looks for a proper dustbin and then puts. And in the Beti Bachao Beti Padhao, the ratio, sex ratio in the newly born children has significantly changed in the last 9 years. Even the states like Haryana and Rajasthan, which were having very negative ratio, they have also improved substantially. So it means if an able and honest leadership is there, people of country are ready to accept and do positive things for society.
Good evening. The Prime Minister is talking of vocal for local. This, I'm talking about the banking. This CIBIL, the credit scoring agency, CIBIL or MARC, whatever, there are 3-4 agencies. They don't belong to India. Example, CIBIL belongs to a TransUnion of America. Why the American company should maintain our borrowers' data? Can we constitute our own credit scoring? I'm not talking of credit rating. I'm talking of credit scoring. Why can't you constitute our own agency, either with the RBI or the government of India? Because now the CIBIL is creating a lot of problems. And every day the person when he goes for the enhancement of the loan, whatever, immediately they say that the CIBIL score is low, you are unable to get it. It's creating a lot of problem, anomalies. Even I have seen many cases where the CIBIL only has created the problem, not the banker. Banker was only CIBIL.
You have raised a very significant point, but our government is also having all those things in their mind. That's why we are gradually moving to the era in which the so-called control of these international agencies will slightly be removed. For example, for the first time, we have entered into a rupee-ruble trade with USSR. And not only USSR, forget about the smaller neighboring countries like Sri Lanka and Bangladesh. There are 34 countries who are negotiating with India for a trade in rupee, including European Union and Germany. So these are the gradual transformation. तो जो आप कह रहे हैं एजेंसीज की बात, चिंता मत करिए, वो वक्त आएगा कि हम उनको एजेंसी को बताएंगे कि तुम्हारी रेटिंग क्या है। एक हिंदी में कबीर का दोहा है, अगर आप लोगों ने सुना हो, कि माटी कहे कुम्हार से, मतलब वो घड़ा बनता है ना मट्टी का, तो माटी कहे कुम्हार से तू क्या रोंदे मोए, एक दिन ऐसा आएगा मैं रोंदूंगी तोहे।
This time when I heard the budget of Nirmala Sudhanshu in March 22, well, there were 5 states going for election and the budget was purely an economic budget. Keeping in view of India at 100, Amrit Kaal, and she has laid down the whole policies for India at 100. What I see as far as our MSMEs are concerned for India at 100, 2047, I think the total economy is going to be maybe somewhere around say $45 trillion economy. When you talk about 2025, $5 trillion economy. And major part is played by MSME. So here, as I was telling you in the discussion, so out of 6.3 crores of MSME, 95% are micro. 4% are small and only 1% is medium. So the micro to medium is a lot of space from say 5 crore to 250 crores of turnover. Maybe that kind of bifurcation is done for reaching that say $45 trillion economy. And one suggestion I would like to give, sir, when you say Jai Kisan, Jai Jawan, why can't you add Jai Vidyami also?
You have mentioned very appropriate point that the micro industries, which constitute from 95 to 97% of contribution to the employment generation also, but second largest employer after to agriculture. But this time, by using and connecting to technology, and even at the rural level, the broadband connectivity and others, the ample opportunity for the micro industry is also emerging. I just give one data. In 2014, there were only 6 crore broadband connections in the country. Now it is 83 crores. So it means it has pervaded from major cities to medium cities to even semi-urban and rural areas. So these type of transformation are going on, and government is sensitive enough, and they are consistently keeping in view for the good health of economy. Like you said, that in the election year, we have emphasized more on the capital expenditure than on giving freebies, because Modi ji is having a clear vision that we have to work for the long-term health of economy, not for the short-term political gain. For example, if this thing would have been in his mind in November 2016, just 3 months before the important election of Uttar Pradesh, we have not gone for demonetization. In July 2017, just 3 months before the Gujarat election, we would have not gone for GST. So, but he is gradually detoxifying the system and making the system smooth. And the priority is definitely, we know that the total self-sufficiency will be attained only by the micro and small, because those who are the bigger level, they can have collaboration with foreign and others. But the real strength comes from the micro and small. So government is keeping a strict vigil over it.
Sir, Prakash Raikar here. I'm one of your biggest fans. I keep listening to your various talks on economic and various other things. One of the questions is, you mentioned that even when our special countries were opening up their eyes on economy, India was ruling. That was the Indian strength in economic power those years. But now we have been following the Western system of economic models. People go abroad and bring their models into India, which is not really suitable. Any effort, including the change in education policy, is happening to bring back our old system of basic education as well as the economic models. To be very precise, our Sanatana way of studies and thinking. Is there any effort?
A new economic policy has been laid down by central government, and incidentally Karnataka has become the first state which has implemented the new economic policy. But what you have said, in this context again I would like to remind the 5 pledges which Prime Minister has given on this Amrit Kal. The second and third, गुलामी की मानसिकता के हर प्रभाव से अपने को मुक्त करना है और अपनी विरासत पे गर्व करना है. And all those things which you have learned, so many things about your culture and other things, everything is not you have learned through formal education. So many things through society, family and culture. But unfortunately, we ourselves has become very negligent on imparting the cultural values to our newer generation. And that's why what is happening in the disguise of so-called freedoms, independence and dignity, only those forces are working, those who are trying to break the family or break the country. Like today's youth has been told, why you have to bow in front of your mother and father? You not having a self-esteem and dignity, I will take my own decision. You need not to follow the dictate of your, forget about the sister and brother. Don't follow the dictates of your mother and father. But the same generation is told that when you go to profession, there are only 2 rules. Number 1, boss is always right. And number 2, if there is a confusion, refer to rule number 1. You can understand this agenda. Abhi, if you look at the advertisements coming on TV, in every second advertisement you will see that 8 or 9-year-old boy or girl is teaching their parents what is right, what is wrong. This is a systematic approach. What? To inject certain things in the coming generations. We have to be careful about that, because no education system can counter it, only the social system can counter it. इसलिए लास्ट में सिर्फ ये कहूँगा, आजकल के माँ बाप ये सोचते हैं कि बस हमारा बच्चा, हमारा बेटा या बेटी पढ़ लिख के बड़ा आदमी बन जाए और चाहे जो करे. बट इन द लेटर स्टेज ऑफ योर लाइफ यू रियलाइज कि वो और चाहे जो वॉज वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, बट बाय द टाइम द थिंग हैज पास्ड. So we have to be very careful, vigilant and methodical in dealing with the society and the children, then the transformation will automatically happen.
So thank you. Good evening, sir. Thank you for your refreshing talks which you are giving to the investors and the entrepreneurs who are here. Sir, first time in the history of this country, especially about the recent budget which was concluded, if there was any Prime Minister or any Finance Minister who has done a webinar post-budget analysis within a short span of 1 month post-implementation of the budget. It was this government in the history of India. I think we have not seen any person taking such a quick action just to review, and this review happened at the bottom-up approach that happened through the technology. So thank you so much. And we request MSME as a sector, if you look at this segment, has received about 21,447 crores as allocation in the central budget. And as our learned past president said, if you look at the data of MSME, today we speak about micro, small, medium. Micro, small is about 98 to 99%. Till this time we didn't have a proper data in the country. Today we are very proud we are having the data. Out of the 1.63 crores industries in MSME, we have 98+% which is small and micro, doing less than 50 crore turnover. And in the recent national board, there was one study which says less than 40 crores, less than 40 lakhs, 12%. So this is categorized as tiny and nano.
So my submission to you, sir, is if you're looking at the economic world order, the countries like Japan, it's totally relying on the tiny and the nano segment. Don't you think it is time that we should introduce a special segment in MSME called the tiny and the nano? Because evidently 40 lakhs turnover, 12% it is recorded, sir. And if that is done, maybe this segment at the rural level, because today we are talking about one district, one product, ODOP. So I would like to request, and if you can throw some light on this, if these tiny and nano segment can make a difference.
Prior to this program, your chairman and president have also pointed out these things. And in this context, the thinking is already going on. There are some proposals under consideration with the government. And if there are certain suggestions from your side, you just provide it and I will try to make it to the appropriate and effective level. On the issue of budget, just one thing came in mind. Before Modiji's government has come, budget used to be on 28th of February. Now we have preponed it by 1 month. Why? Why it was 28th of February? Because during British time, it followed the British tradition. January or February were the month with the coldest month. Most of the time, the snow was there. The snow starts melting by the end of February only. So they start. It doesn't suit our style because in our case, the monsoon comes in the month of June. So there has to be a situation that the proper allocation should have reached to the proper destination before May. So that's why 1 month before it, we were carrying the colonial legacy. And you know one thing, before Vajpayee government, the time of presentation of budget was 5 p.m. in the evening. Why? Because at the time there was 11:30 in London. We were following the tradition for 50 years. कि साहब अंग्रेजों के समय के हिसाब से चलेंगे एंड वी चेंज इट, भाई हमारे समय के हिसाब से चलेंगे. और आप देखिए समय के हिसाब से हमने चलना शुरू किया और समय ने बदलना भी शुरू कर दिया.
Due to paucity of time, we are coming to the most informative session.
Last question.
Okay.
Sir, good evening, sir. More than a question, it's a request. I want to know when the name of India will be changed to Bharat, sir. I would be very happy if you would include in the manifesto of 2024 elections.
Yes, raised a very unique question. वैसे official name of India is Bharat because in the constitution it is written India, that is Bharat. But I have told you the meaning of Bharat. But you know, Bharat is not that thing which is to be written. If I ask you what is Bharat, you will say this is a country. This which is having a land from Himalaya to ocean. This is a geographical entity. No, it is not the geographical entity. It is more finer and subtle than that. Then you will say, okay, then the more finer and subtle will be the historical entity. No, it's more finer and subtle than that. Then you will say, okay, the more finer and subtle than historical is a cultural entity. It is more finer and subtle than that. Then you will say, then more finer than cultural is a religious entity. No, it's more finer than that. You will say, then it can be a spiritual entity. No, it's more finer than that. What is this? Because in the formula of hydrogen bomb or the energy of earth, two nucleus merge, collide, and by collision an enormous energy is generated. That is the formula of the nuclear bomb. Two nucleus, when they come, they become one. Two hydrogen becomes one helium, enormous energy comes and the radiation gets spread all over. In the same manner, this is the land in which in the last few thousand years, thousands of people were capable of fusing their Atma with the Paramatma, and the vibration is there available in this land. If you are capable enough to feel that vibration, then you will be able to understand what Bharat is. Otherwise, जाओ और इमारतें देख के चले आइए, बाकी कुछ समझ में नहीं है.
Thank you, sir. We are coming to the most informative session, end of the most informative session. May I request Sri Mayank Kaushik, Secretary, Laghu Udyog Bharati, Bangalore North, to kindly propose the vote of thanks.
गुड इवनिंग. एक्चुअली बिफोर वोट ऑफ थैंक्स मेरी एक रिक्वेस्ट है सुधांशु से. एक्चुअली हर रोज़ मीडिया में अब उस पर यूट्यूब पे देखते देखते आज एकदम सामने आए हैं, तो हम भी थोड़ा घबराए हुए हैं हम, मतलब मैं, आई एम नॉट टॉकिंग अबाउट सर। मैं आपका वीडियोस देखते रहता हूँ, उसमें आपने एक ये बोला था कि पहले सर्जन इंडिया से थे आयुर्वेद में। तो पहला टेलीफोन हमने बनाया लेकिन हम पेटेंट नहीं करा पाए, हवाई जहाज हमने बनाया था लेकिन हम उस समय पेटेंट नहीं करा पाए। और वो तब की बात है जब वेदास, आयुर्वेदा, ऋग्वेदा, मतलब वेदास हम पढ़ाए जाते थे। जब साइंस वहाँ पर है, मेडिकल उधर है और सब कुछ है। प्रकाश सर ने भी सेम क्वेश्चन ही पूछा था लगभग। तो वेदास कब हमारे स्कूलों में स्टार्टिंग से इंट्रोड्यूस होंगे, जो हम काफ़ी टाइम से नहीं पढ़ पा रहे हमारे बच्चे लोग। तो मेरा एक ये रिक्वेस्ट है कि जितना जल्दी हो सके उतना जल्दी अगर आप इस पे ध्यान दिए कि हम भी पढ़ सके अपनी गीता, अपनी वेदास, तो हमारे बच्चे वो समझे, उनको भी पढ़ाने के लिए वहाँ तो शुरू से उनके मन में वो आएगा। तो मेरा एक रिक्वेस्ट है अगर आप इसको आगे लेके जा सके सर।
वैसे इन्होंने वेदों का नाम लिया तो आपको एक बात बताएं, अगर आपसे पूछा जाए कि कौन सी ऐसी चीज है जो वेद में लिखी है और दूसरी जगह लिखी भी नहीं है। देखिए क्या होता है, आप कहें बाकी रिलीजियस टेक्स्ट में ये लिखा है वो लिखा, आप कहेंगे ईमानदारी से जियो, सच बोलो, ये तो यू कैन से कि इट इज रिटन ऑल्सो everywhere, but some people follow, some doesn't follow. I am strictly asking that thing which is only written in Vedas, nowhere else. You know, you have all heard about the Vedic mathematics. Can you ever heard mathematics as a part of religious text? It's only in Vedas. You have heard about Ayurveda, that is medical science, as a part of religious text? Have you ever heard anywhere in there? That's why we are the country, and on the issue of religious texts, there is no discussion or interpretation is permitted anywhere in the world. Only sermon and precept or taqreer. They strictly say whatever is said, you straight away accept it, otherwise you will go to hell. और बाकी कहते हैं अगर नहीं माना तो सरपंच से जुदा भी हो सकता है. But it is the only religious text which allows शास्त्रार्थ. Sit aside, discuss and then conclude what you want. And not only this, इन्होंने कहा तो मुझे याद आ गया, एक पॉइंट और बता दें. The most famous शास्त्रार्थ is आचार्य मंडन मिश्र with Shankaracharya. And you know who was the judge of that शास्त्रार्थ? Mandan Mishra's wife Ubhay Bharati. Can you ever quote a religious structure in which the discussion is allowed and discussion is having between the two gents, and a lady is the jury? And you know, Mandan Mishra got defeated under the judgmentship of his wife. This shows the jurisprudence and neutrality of that. क्योंकि उसकी जानते क्या शर्त थी कि अगर शंकराचार्य हार जाएंगे तो वो ब्रह्मचर्य छोड़कर गृहस्थ हो जाएंगे, और मंडन मिश्र हार जाएंगे तो गृहस्थ छोड़ के सन्यासी हो जाएंगे. और his wife was knowing कि my husband loses, I will lose my husband also. Still she gave the judgment, and it is believed कि जो श्रृंगेरी मठ यहाँ कर्नाटक में है, ये माना जाता है, एक धारणा ये है कि उसके जो पहले शंकराचार्य थे सुरेश्वराचार्य जी, that was मंडन मिश्र.
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू सो मच सर. सो वी आर लुकिंग फॉरवर्ड कि जल्दी से जल्दी गुरुकुल भी स्टार्ट हो हिंदुस्तान में वापस. ओके, सो थैंक यू सर, आपने अपने समय को हमें दिया. और आई थिंक आज जो पिन ड्रॉप साइलेंस हमने देखा है, तो इससे पहले मैंने तो इतना अच्छा साइलेंस वो नहीं देखा. और आपका जब आप बोल रहे थे तो मुझे मालूम है कि कई लोग ऐसे थे जिनको कुछ ना कुछ करने के लिए उठना पड़ रहा था, लेकिन वो एक पल उठते थे और बैठ जा रहे थे कि कहीं मैं मिस ना कर दूं कुछ भी चीज़. सो थैंक यू, एक्चुअली थैंक यू सो मच सर, हमें इतना डीपली आपने समझाने के लिए हर चीज़ के बारे में. एंड आई वुड लाइक टू थैंक आवर प्रेसिडेंट अश्वत्थ नारायण actually to make this event so successfully in your guidance. Thank you so much. Thank you H.V.S. Krishna sir, always our, you can say that power behind us, so it is only you sir. Thank you Shrikant Datta sir for being part of here and always guiding us in a proper way. LUB Karnataka team who has actually kept faith in us to manage this show. Thank you all LUB Karnataka team and all the past president of various association and current office bearers and members of all the associations. And I'll thank you team LUB North for working last 2 days day and night to make this event successful. Thank you, all the team North.
एक पॉइंट मुझे और ध्यान आया, आपसे कह दूं, आज सोलर इक्लिप्स था. That was visible only in Japan, Australia, Thailand, Indonesia, not here. तो ये तो नासा के सैटेलाइट्स बता रहे थे जो 50-60 साल पहले नहीं थे. बट आप पंचांग में जाके पूछेंगे तो भी ये पता था कि भारत में नहीं पड़ रहा है. That was such a, and forget about the date, even hours and minutes are same. जो पंडित पंचांग में से बताता है, जो नासा वहाँ से बता रहा था. That shows our advancement and precision and also knowing the curvature of the earth कि इस एरिया में पड़ रहा है, इसमें नहीं. But unfortunately, still we were branded as unscientific by those who said that the earth is stationary and the earth is chapti.
सर एक्चुअली वो धीरे धीरे अब मानने लगे हैं. अब वो लोग भी मानने लगे हैं जो धीरे धीरे जो नहीं मानते थे कभी.
ध्यान है आज सोलर इक्लिप्स
नहीं, ये मैंने आपका वीडियो देखा है, ये वाला भी काफ़ी देर तक 9 मिनट का वीडियो मैंने उस समय देखा था आपका. थैंक यू रवि किरण कुलकर्णी सर फॉर इंट्रोड्यूस आवर आई थिंक द बेस्ट पर्सन ऑफ टुडे, नॉट टुडे एक्चुअली फॉर माई लाइफ, इट इज़ फॉर मी. थैंक यू फॉर इंट्रोड्यूसिंग अस. थैंक यू जगदीश सर फॉर मैनेजिंग दिस शो सो वेल, and V1 hotel staff and management, thank you one and all. And thank you media, photographers and videographers. Now I request everybody to stand up for national anthem, please.
गणमन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता, पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल बंगा, विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा, तव शुभ नामे जागे, तव शुभ आशीष मांगे, गाहे तव जय गा